Here is everything you need to know to play Viper on Breeze Attack. So we're going to start on the A side for Viper. There's a lot you can do from this area alone, with their smokes or wall, everything. So first is the default wall. There's obviously the wall that you can throw like this, that is just kind of defaulty, and the main purpose of this is to keep backside control. But one thing that you want to be aware of is that this wall is a little bit close to you, so you get a little bit less space. So the more preferable wall in this case would technically be like this, as even though it cuts off or makes this section of the wall or smoke bigger for the enemies to walk through, you do get more control on the left side of sight. And you can even get this part in the middle to give them this space if you want to even take some more control, or have like a good wall so they can't jump over the brick on the retake. So this is the main wall that I would use. And then with this, there's two different smokes that I like to do, but there's a couple more that you can do in general. The first smoke that you can do, in case there is probably an opper, is you want to line up against this pillar. And you want to look at this little beam right here and then go up to the, I don't know, this container silo looking thing on the black wall, and you want to jump then throw. And this will cover the left part of sight. And with both of these together, you will take front sight control. The only part you do have to worry about is stairs, which is the main downfall of this wall. Also with this wall, that's pretty cool, is it kind of gives you a little one-way right here for their feet. But the main downside of this wall in general is stairs. So if you want to mix this smoke up, then the other smoke I like to do, also from this area, is you want to line up against this panel, against this orange, kind of just in this general area. Line up against there, and for here you want to, so you have this point right here, and you have this point right here in between this leaf and this corner, and you want to go up to where these points meet, and you want to jump throw. And you want to make sure that you're jumping as you're throwing to get it at the peak, and this will land as far right as possible for your teammates that come up here to have a little one-way, blocks off all here, and you do get frontside control. If you feel like you have other ways besides getting this smoke down to be able to clear out this area for your team, then this smoke is more preferable. But if you are going for, let's say, like an eco strat, and you just want to be able to get the plant down, then putting the smoke here is probably more preferable for you guys, because you can still run up along this wall and not get seen from stairs. So the second type of wall I like to do with that smoke on stairs is something like this, where you're cutting off from the brown box, or from, I guess, this little half wall right here. And this wall will just make it so you guys can take more sight control as a team, and maybe even push up to yellow. Usually good in like low body situations. If you're in like a 3v3, you're able to keep more sight control, get more util out of them, and hold yellow really well, especially even from main you can hold this wall. So something like this. Still, you realize stairs is definitely an issue for you guys. It does also block off a little bit of hall. Not perfect though. I do have a smoke that will cover this. But yeah, this is a good one if you just want to be able to keep more backside control and feel a little bit safer by playing back here. There's two smokes for yellow that I like to use, also from this lineup right here against this little panel. You want to line up here, and the first one was here. The second one is going to be right here on this little like blotch on the bottom of it, and this is also going to be a jump throw. This will block off all the tower, and they can still kind of run out yellow, which is why sometimes I like to pair this with this wall, so you can keep this control a little bit better. They can't peek top yellow that well. Yeah, it's a pretty good smoke for like late rounder if you expect them to be playing far back on the bridge. So the last lineup that you want to do for yellow will cover the left side. You just want to line up still same spot, and you want to aim kind of like straight down from this line against the beam, and it's also a jump throw. So land right on the edge, so it is a little bit precise, but it is really good for your guys on stairs to be able to watch anyone crossing up here, and it just makes it so that they have to funnel out from the right side of yellow or peek on top of stairs, which someone over here could be watching for this guy. For molly lineups, there's a couple of that I do. For This one's kind of the default one. You line up on this brick and you just want to aim in between these. Like this is 1, 2, 3. You want to aim it in between right here. And that's just a toss. And that should land on the default for the front here. For the second lineup, it's also from outside here. You want to line up against this post. And you want to aim your UI against the middle right here. And this is also just a toss. This will also cover part of default, but it's mostly for the safe plant. The last thing I want to talk about for VIPER on A side is her ult. Some people like to ult from here, which is just not good because it doesn't get you site control. It lets you push out a little bit, but you need site control. And some people like to ult directly onto site, which is bad because it isolates you from the rest of the people in main. So if you want a good ult, you want to aim along this beam and just straight. This is good for a couple reasons. It keeps default control. It cuts off a little wall for these guys who want to try and push in. And it keeps a player in brick safe, so if you need to like fall off from the spam or stay alive, you have a good way of falling back to main with a good little wall for yourself to hold here. So it creates a lot of little areas that they have to push through to be able to clear this spot. And it even gives you a good timing to swing out right here, or if you need to spam, it's pretty good to spam. So just a good VIPER ult all around. You can push out with it and keep site control with it. The last thing you can do from A lobby that's not for A main is the smoke on hall, and this is a really good smoke that you should probably be defaulting most of the time. You want to line up against this brick a little on the left side, and you want to run up until that spot where you do the other lineups, basically. So you want to run here, and basically at this point, you just toss it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Either way, it will land and cover. Here it'll bounce off the door a little bit, and it does create a good sight line. Very hard to push out of because it's right against here. It'll peek into both. So yeah. Now for mid, there's a couple things that you can do for mid. For one, this is a really good smoke to block the cross. You can just line up kind of anywhere against here, but you want to line up where this line is on the left corner, and you just want to toss it. And this will give you a perfect smoke to cross mid. Can't see you. You can even sit back in this cubby, wait for someone to push out on you. It's yeah, pretty good to cut off the information if you know that they're not really playing door that often. There's a couple walls you can do for mid. One is directly for a mid take if you don't want to use that smoke. You just want to line up against this left side, and you want this wall to cover part of door, and then also just your walk up here. Nothing too fancy, but it does give you the cover you need, and you can have a lurk down hall with it. The next wall you can do, also from here, is something like this. You want to be able to block off top of stairs, and you want to block off yellow. So you should get a little bit closer, I guess. And it does block off here. You do have to watch out if you are main still. They can see you here, or they can be peeking you on top here, but this is a good wall just to be able to run up on site on. It gets you a little bit more cover and more space on A. The last wall you can do from mid, if you're trying to go B, or if you end up taking a lot of mid space and you want to work B off it, then you just put your wall covering both sides of McDonald like that. It's better to split across. That way you can isolate each corner a little bit better rather than trying to hold both sides. So you can watch either or. And yeah, you can just run up mid pretty easily off the wall. The last smoke or thing that you can do in mid to help your teammates get up is you want to line up against this part of the brick. And you just want to aim right on this right side in this little gap right here and do a jump throw. And this should land perfectly right behind here. And it blocks off completely top mid, and they have no real way of peeking you. Now for the B side, there's not many walls you can do. The main wall that everyone sees is like this. You want to angle it a little bit just to be able to give you a little bit more space on site, and be able to get, like, I don't know, having it straight makes it easier for them to walk out in. If you have it a little bit behind the wall, it gives you a little bit more space. So it makes it harder to like play these angles or right behind it. You have to stay behind the wall, so you get a little bit more space in general. The next wall that you can do, also from over here, is you just want to cut the sight kind of in half. This is good for eco rounds or good like if you're dashing out and just trying to keep back sight control and you're not necessarily worried about this space. You do have to watch out for the cubby. That's something that you'll probably want to spam or molly. People will like to play here off it and pretend like, oh, I'm hiding, but it doesn't really help them much if you expect that they're going to be playing here often. But it is good, covers here, covers anyone playing on the top of the wall, and makes it really hard for anyone to push out if they're behind pillar. The next thing I like to do with Viper on the B side is toss our smoke on the left side of B right here. So you just want to line up against this little line right here on the bricks, same as the mid lineup where you would throw it right here. But for this one, you want to line up your UI against right here on this brick, and you want to jump throw. With this smoke, you have a good cross on window for, let's say, like a chamber opper. And he can just be able to hold, he can cross to here really well and just hold for anyone trying to leave B or catch a rotate if you do make A pressure. So it's a pretty good smoke that you can try and default, and it gives you good space for you to be able to dash in, for like a jet to dash into the smoke. And yeah, it just covers off anyone trying to hold this angle, and you can isolate this angle a little bit better as you're moving up. The last smoke I like to do with Viper on the B side will cover the right side, and it's still from the same spot as usual, and you just want to line up your UI on this leaf underneath the flower. So right here, you want to line up the dot of the right click underneath that, and you want to jump throw. So we'll land on top of the box and cover all of the right side. So when you have the Viper wall up for the wall, all you have to worry about is this left side. You have to check the cubby too, I guess. But yeah, this will also give you a little bit more cover playing back on site too from the hallway. For the post plant lineup, you want to line up against this brick, and you just want to aim right at the leaf. And this will land covering default, and this is usually the spot I would say is the best spot to plant. Covers you from pillar, keeps you safe from brick. So this is the spot that will cover the most space, and it just covers the left side of sight mostly. So it's hard to push out through. For the last lineup I like to do with Viper on the B side is you want to jump up on this box and go into this corner. So you want to kind of walk straight into it, so you fit perfectly. It is a little bit precise. And you want to line your crosshair directly in the middle of this circle. And it's just a throw. And this will land on the right side cubby. And it is pretty good at clearing out the whole thing and spreading out a little bit extra, so they take more damage trying to run out. If you ended up saving your smoke for a site, then a good smoke that you can do on the B site is you just want to throw it kind of against here. Doesn't have to be perfect. But the reason this is good is because it allows you to cross back sight freely during the post plant, and it gives you little pockets to be able to like push out of in different angles. And if anyone does get back sight control or like back elbow control, then it makes it harder for them to run through stairs, because this is like perfectly walled off for you to be able to hold through. So it gives you a lot of different angles that you can hold from. As for Viper's ultimate on the B site, there isn't really one good ult that you can do. It just depends on the type of space that you're trying to hold. So if you're trying to keep control of the back left a little bit more, you want to aim kind of on this left side. You know, it's kind of risky peeking these angles, so you probably want the wall up as you're doing this. But you want the ult probably something like here, so you keep back left control. Or you can ult out probably into this corner and keep back right control. So like the main points that you want for your ultimate is that you want it to be covering a wall and all the corners that you can potentially play in, and the default plant. So something that would be along the pillar like this wouldn't be necessarily ideal, because they can wrap around, and at any point if your teammates do die while you have to sit in the ult, then you don't really have a lot of cover. You do have like the little wall that you can play off, but overall It doesn't give you space to like wrap on them, and it just doesn't keep one section of the site completely safe, which is kind of the main point of the Viper roll, is to be able to stay alive in it as long as possible. So another ultimate that you could try that kind of follows these principles is kind of to aim along this brick over to the left. And this will give you all back left control. Allows you to sneak up close into this cubby if you want to. Even be able to potentially wrap on the post plant if you move up through here. You can even play on top of this if you wanted to, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it covers the same principles where it covers a section of the site very well for them to be more funneled into one side of it, and it covers the default plant. So that is everything you need to know to play Viper on Breeze Attack. I would appreciate if you guys like and comment below, and thanks for watching.